Hey, what's going on everybody? It's Katie Zen. Wanted to talk for a little bit about Pokemon Legends Arceus. I've got a lot to say about this game. As a Pokemon fan since Pokemon Ruby, lately I truly feel like we've been playing the same exact game for 20 years. They may not be terrible games on the face of it, these new Pokemon games that keep coming out, X and Y, Sword and Shield. If it's your first ever Pokemon game, you're going to enjoy it, but if you're going into something like Sword and Shield after following the series for decades, it just hurts when you see just how lazy it is. They slap the exact same formula on every single title with just the smallest incremental changes. You've got new Pokemon, a new city, new gym leaders, maybe one big change like the wild areas or something. But aside from that, it's the exact same game. Because why would they change anything? It'll still sell regardless. It's Pokemon. And it really hit me when the Gen 4 remakes came out. I feel like I've spent my whole life waiting for those games, honestly. I remember playing Fire Red and Leaf Green, sneaking our Game Boys into middle school, and when they announced Heart Gold and Soul Silver, we're thinking, wait, they're gonna do all the generation remakes? Can you imagine what the Gen 3 remake is gonna look like? And then they announced that, and I remember being in high school seeing them announce Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire, and just looking at both of those games. It's clear the evolution. While they may fundamentally be the same game, you get that jump forward as far as technologically. And we're thinking about Gen 4 like, oh my god, it's gonna be like, playing a fucking Pixar movie. And when Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl finally came out, it really hit me. Damn, I really just dropped $60 for the exact same game I played when I was a kid. And even when Sword and Shield came out, that was an embarrassment of a game. I feel like I was truly taken advantage of by Sword and Shield. So with Pokemon Legends Arceus out, what exactly makes this game different? There's been some buzz about this game, but why is it worth your attention? The way I feel about this game, okay, now bear with me on this one. I liken it pretty heavily to something like Half-Life Alyx, right? In the game itself, you don't really do anything too different or crazy. On paper, it's a by-the-numbers first-person shooter, but it's the way you do it. You're physically throwing the grenades, peeking through the doors, lifting up the window, and it's the immersiveness of it that makes Alyx, which is otherwise a normal first-person shooter, such a fantastic and immersive experience. And that kind of evolution, that's how I feel about Pokemon Arceus. You're still catching Pokemon, exploring and battling, but now you're doing it in such a new and exciting way, it is impossible to go back to the other Pokemon games. Right after I finished dumping about 50 hours in this game to complete the Pokédex, which I encourage all of you to do, I went back to my Brilliant Diamond playthrough, which, even when I played that when the game came out, I got 3 hours in, I was bored out of my fucking mind. Trying it again now, there's no way I can finish that game after playing Legends Arceus. I just can't do it. The pacing is so much more snappier in Arceus and ends up being so addictive in the gameplay loop. You're not waiting for all the text to finish before Pokemon acts, there's no fluff in the battles. In the time it takes to catch one Pokemon in any other Pokemon game, you can literally catch 10 in this one. Because you're not sifting through tall grass waiting for animations and screen transitions to finish, you just see Pokemon walking around, and for most Pokemon, it's as simple as aim and throw, and you got them. There are a couple different kinds of Pokeballs you can use depending on different situations, like if you're pretty close or if you're trying to snipe from far away, but it's sort of limited. I'd like to see this expanded on in a future game. But you are heavily encouraged to catch really every Pokemon you see, to fill your PC up with Pokemon to fill out these research pages. Instead of badges, you have a rank that increases with how well you fill out your Pokédex, and that's more than just catching the Pokemon. It could be capturing a certain amount of them, seeing them use a certain move, defeating a certain amount of them. Completing enough of these tasks, not only do you raise your level in that organization, but it also raises your odds of getting a shiny version of that Pokemon, so you've got a lot of incentive to do that. You will end up with a ton of unneeded Pokemon on your PCs, but you're also encouraged to release unwanted Pokemon in bulk. You're actually rewarded with upgrade materials, so you're really kind of just selling them in a way. And those upgrade materials you get fundamentally replace the EV and IV system. You don't need to scour a Bulbapedia page or watch a 20-minute dissertation to figure out how to level up your Pokemon efficiently. Rather, you gain certain levels of upgrade materials to raise your stats, broken up kind of like Titanite in Dark Souls, where you have the shards that go up to level 3, the chunks, the slabs. It's just like that in Pokemon, except you apply them to your Pokemon stats up to level 10. And that change to leveling your Pokemon, making it more accessible for anyone, is just the tip of the iceberg in terms of the great quality of life changes they've made. You don't need to track down some old ass man to change your Pokemon's name. You can do it anytime from the pause menu. You don't need to save these rare materials to learn moves you've already overwritten. You can just, at any time, change your move pools for your Pokemon in the pause menu. It is lovely. Evolving isn't automatic, you can do it anytime from the menu. Pokemon that you've previously had to trade with a held item to evolve them, you don't need to do that anymore, you can just use the item on it. It is the list just goes on and on of these great changes that they've made. In the same method where you catch Pokemon at any time just by throwing the ball, you fight them anytime, anywhere in the field just by throwing your team out. This organic nature of fighting them means that you can actually get grouped up on by multiple Pokemon at once, and this introduces a new turn order system. Your speed stat isn't just to determine who goes first, it determines where in this list you're placed, and sometimes if you're fast enough you can move twice. What makes this exciting is now every move has a functionality where you can spend twice the PP to do the move in either Agile style or Strong style. Agile style means your move comes out faster at a reduced damage or effectiveness, and Strong style means it does more damage or is more accurate, but it'll take longer to act again afterwards. Now, this is very interesting and I appreciate the strategy that it offers, but it doesn't always work out like you'd expect. Very often I found that the turn order is just not affected at all by Strong or Agile style. Sometimes you can Strong style a move for free with no detriment, and sometimes you do an Agile style move for really no benefit at all. It doesn't impact the turn order, and that's because it's a very fluid and flexible system. You won't always get 2 turns if you do Agile style. It depends on the move itself, it depends on your opponent's speed stat. I'm also worried that the turn list might be a little buggy. Sometimes I'll Agile style a move and it'll say that on my next turn I can act twice, but then the next turn comes I can only act once. It's weird, it feels experimental. But really, this whole game feels experimental. It's certainly optimized for a single player experience, and not with any competitive multiplayer in mind, which it brings me to another topic. There is no PvP in this one. You can trade Pokemon with your friends, but you can't battle any other trainers. There is no PvP, which it's a pretty odd decision, but the more that I think about this battle system, I think that competitive multiplayer would really suffer from it compared to how Pokemon used to be. Because there are designated turns and you always know for sure if you'll go first and when it's your time to act, there are significantly less situations where you would try to predict your opponent, and that really is always the bread and butter of competitive Pokemon. The late game fights against trainers in this game are pretty much trading one-hit KOs because you will almost always act first if you're sending out a new Pokemon. That's true for you or the other opponent. I think PvP in this game would shine in 3-player or 4-player battles, or team battles. There's not a single team battle in this game, which was pretty strange to me. If we can't have competitive battles, then I would gladly take insane chaos style battles. Just imagine 4 trainers walking around their 4 Pokemon in this big arena. That'd be hilarious. I think it'd be a ton of fun. I mentioned that the late game trainer battles can hit you with consistent one-hit KOs, and that's true. This game is refreshingly difficult. I feel like every game since Black and White 2 has been sleep, especially Sword and Shield. In that game, you level up your starter and you just mash A through the entire game. Thankfully, that is not the case in Legends Arceus. Especially early on, my team was getting wiped quite a bit. Sometimes Pokemon even 20 levels under you can turn around and deal some serious damage or survive some stronger moves. I really feel like the damage values were tweaked a little higher in this game, like the time to kill was lowered. Oh my god, I feel like a Call of Duty degenerate saying that. The one area as far as difficulty goes that has me concerned ties back to that new badge system we talked about earlier. It still functions the same way, which means you get a certain badge and Pokemon at a certain level will obey you. Now, historically in Pokemon games, this number has always been unreasonably out of reach for where you are in the game, because whatever the cap is for what Pokemon can obey you, you would need to grind a shit ton to even reach that level, and you can't find any wild Pokemon that were anywhere close to that cap. But in this game, you can always find Pokemon that are much higher level than you. I remember towards the end of this game, my party was maybe around 56 to 60, and I started finding wild level 75s or 80s that I could tame no problem. I found a level 75 wild alpha Garchomp. I threw 1 Ultra Ball at its back and caught it, and my team was never the same. That worked out similarly for many other Pokemon I found, and I've honestly, this hurt me as a Pokemon fan, but I ditched my starter, I ditched a lot of my OG team early on, because I was catching some really over-leveled monsters early on. So I think that the levels of certain Pokemon would need to be tweaked in future games, or maybe the level of what you can control, but it does make me wonder how the speedrun is going to go. I think it would end up being pretty nice. You know what isn't nice? The graphics. Yeah, I know. Amazing segue, right? You've heard it before. At best, this game looks like a nice Wii game. At worst, it looks like that one leaked Sonic screenshot for what, like Sonic Extreme? You remember that shit? What I like is that they've seemed to prioritize the frame rate over everything else. There are stutters when you turn the camera too fast or see some crazy shit, but for most of the time, it's a stable 30 frames per second. It doesn't judder wildly. It doesn't dip to 20 FPS for extended periods of time like Breath of the Wild. Now, it's clear that the cuts needed to get it where it needs to be are obviously in the draw distance. Pokemon just a few yards away animate like a PowerPoint presentation, and environments in the distance are just unrecognizable. They're reduced to mush. You see that island over there in the distance? That's actually the same area as this lush forest, but you wouldn't know it until you're right up next to it. It hurts to see a game like this come out in the same year as a game like this, and especially on the same technology as a game like this. But at the end of the day, what's most important is that I never felt like playability of the game was impacted by this, so it could be much worse. Now I'll tell you what impacted my playability. This fucking item burden, dude, I hate this shit. Limited inventory is just an artificial restriction for an excuse to absolutely dump your money into expanding your inventory. Whenever I see systems like this in games, I just wonder if anyone on the team that added this truly considered if what they were making was necessary or fun. I can understand a limitless inventory being a problem in something like Fallout, right? If it affects the balance of the game, it's an issue. That's why you only have 6 Pokemon. But who truly gives a fuck if I have an unlimited amount of medicinal leeks, or rocks, or oran berries? I'm not a fan. I would not like to see this come back, please. Another low point of the game is definitely the story. I won't attempt to hide my bias. I'm a huge Gen 4 fanboy, so I ate a lot of this shit up. When you see the legendaries in this game, I was freaking the fuck out. And there are some moments late in the game, especially in the post-game, that really impressed me. Not just as a Pokemon fan, but just in terms of a video game. It was very surprising. A lot of the final battles that happen, I won't spoil anything, but make sure you keep playing the main story after you finish the game, after the credits roll. But aside from those high points, for the most part, it's a slow, boring story with a few good characters and a ton of forgettable ones. So, for a Pokemon game, it's a pretty good story. You know, they aren't exactly known for their gripping narratives. There still is no voice acting, which at this point is just disrespectful. Especially when your player makes little grunts and vocal noises. And even Pokemon Snap has full voice acting at this point. But listen, I said that some parts impressed me. Really, this whole game impressed me, which no Pokemon game has done for me in a long, long time. What we have now is a great skeleton of a game. There are plenty of things I'd like to see improved or changed, and mainly that's the Pokemon themselves. They really just kind of stand there in the environment, patrolling like a Metal Gear Solid 1 enemy, waiting for your chance to throw a Pokeball at their back. I want more natural events with the Pokemon. I want the world to feel more alive. I want the Pokemon not to seem like statues that are just waiting there. I remember I was walking around doing whatever, and this little Riolu comes up and starts smiling at me, just running around, having fun. Okay, this is cringe, alright? I gave him some berries, you know, we did a little dance, and I caught that Riolu and kept him on my team out of spite because I felt that connection with it, you know? What if I could have played catch with him or did some other shit? Whatever, it's cringe, but I thought it was cool. Another time I walked up and found a hot spring, and there were high-level Pokemon all over the place, just waiting. But when I walked up, they didn't aggro. Every Machoke I've seen before then would have just started trying to kill me on sight, but they were chill. They just accepted that the hot spring was this place of peace, and it was sick. Now, I'm not gonna lie, I killed them all anyways after that. I needed that XP, you know what I'm saying? But I digress. Think of all the things the Pokemon in the new Pokemon Snap do, and put them in this open world like this game, and I think that is the best way forward. I think this game has the potential to completely invalidate Pokemon Snap. Let me play this clip from my stream where I think I explained it pretty well. Oh, look at him sleeping! Hold on. Dude, okay, listen. This game has the potential to completely invalidate Pokemon Snap. Like, let me just take out a camera, line up the shot, and bring it back in, because this is so much more meaningful than anything I've done in Pokemon Snap. It's just walking up and taking a picture. You know, Monster Hunter, you just take a picture of the monsters. Let me just line up the shot, get the tree as well, take a picture. Or I guess you'd want to do it head on, right? For the highest score. And do a photo album. Give me rewards for it. Like, you know, rare candies and shit. Meaningful rewards as well. It's so easy, dude. If there's one thing I could have them do with the next Legends Arceus or Legends game, it would be to add in, you know, Pokemon Snap mechanics. Yeah, the professor even has a camera, and when I saw that camera building, I was so ready. I thought that's what this would be. That it was just a place to line up your Pokemon for a photo shoot. I was skeptical at first, but what we have with Legends Arceus is a true evolution of the series. And if Game Freak ever goes back to their old style, I don't even want to think about what would happen. Keep in mind, this is Pokemon Legends, which implies this is a sub-series, or an offshoot, if you will. But listen, I don't give a goddamn about the main series, alright? Competitive Pokemon be damned. I just want a fun game. I truly can't remember the last time I was this addicted to a Pokemon game. I have never, in my history of all Pokemon games, cared about completing the Pokédex until this one. It is just that fun and addictive. Many times writing this script, I had to stop myself from writing if they do another Legends game. Let's just erase any room for doubt. They must do another Legends game, and I want that to be the 9th generation of Pokemon in this style. It is objectively better than any other main series Pokemon game in the last 10 years. If Game Freak turns their back on the changes made in this game, I strongly believe it will set in motion events that will lead to a major global conflict, okay? That's all I'm saying. I think that if Game Freak goes back to their old style, somehow, some way, there will be at least one family that loses their home, alright? We can't go back. We cannot go back. That's all I'm saying. Thanks for watching. I feel like every game since Black and White 2 has been sleep, especially Sword and Shield. Especially, fuck my life. Especially Sword and Shield. Especially Sword and Shield. Especially, is that right? Especially Sword and Shield. I'm just gonna clip it in, I don't give a fuck. Especially Sword and Shield. I know it's gonna sound horrible when it comes out, dude.